Call this meeting to order, the Will County Ad Hoc Access Will County Committee at 11:53. All right. Can Julie I was going to say the pledge first.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right.
Okay. So Julie, would you like to lead us?
Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. All right. And now we will do a roll call. Okay. Seat 15.
Dean Schlattman. Diaz. Logan. Williams. Winfrey. Butler.
Here.
You do not have a quorum.
Okay. So for minutes, would I ask that we postpone minutes till
Well,
next?
yeah, you don't need to vote for that. We'll just move them.
Okay. I was just going to finish
Okay.
saying that.
Sorry.
Okay. For the record.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
All
You
right.
don't need to, yep.
Okay. Old business. Will County dial-a-ride
No
update.
quorum.
And I believe Elaine is going to start, right? Is it,
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, I just want to make sure.
is, oh, let me see, 9.
Perfect. Thank you, Chair Butler. Happy to be here to provide a quick update on everything related to Access Will County. I'll give a brief overview and then going to turn it over to Colin, who really can give you guys a much better, more in-depth update since he is truly the one managing day to day. What you'll see pulled up right now on the screen is an update that I provided to staff to be shared with you all for August. On this, you can kind of see it's as written, right? So from January to pretty much the end of August, we had a total of 6,773 rides within Access Will County in our service area. This does include the rider and any companions that might be joining them on the trip. So this could be a personal care attendant, or I believe you can bring someone with to assist as well. So Colin will chime in and correct me and tell me when I'm wrong. But we have serviced 279 unique riders, and this is old information. We're working on getting you an update. I know Annette has requested some additional information. We're compiling that right now. But I think the big update out of this email that is different from Colin's presentation he's going to go through is the cost breakdown of our program. So you can see that in the little chart there. How much money has been allocated from January 2024 to June of 2024. Our billing that we receive from PACE is delayed. It's always behind our ridership, right? So we receive our ridership numbers first, and then a month or two later, we end up receiving our finalized bill as it goes through the powers that be over at PACE. So I believe we just received our July bill like the other day. So we'll be able to provide an additional update once we are going through that and processing that as well. But breakdown is 42% of our program so far has been funded by an age guide grant. 25% has been funded by an RTA grant, with 33% of the program being funded by local match, which is Will County funded. So happy to take any initial questions about this, but would really probably encourage us to just kind of go to Colin's presentation so we can walk through some updated ridership numbers and some great information, and we can take questions from there. So
I just had a couple questions. On the unique riders, is that different than just all the riders? I just didn't understand. Is it different? Is there a different number between all the riders and unique riders? 11.
So that number reflects the number of specific individuals that use the service from January to June. That number has grown since the expansion. I'm still working on breaking it down by township at the moment, but that does reflect total number of people, and the rides reflects, one person might take one ride,
Oh.
another person might take 20 over the course
Okay,
of the year.
I was just,
Just confirming.
when I said unique rider, I thought maybe it was specifying a certain group of riders, so that's
Oh,
good.
no.
I did just want to clear that up. And then, excuse my ignorance, but for AGE, what does that stand for? For the grant guide or the
Oh.
guide grant?
Age Guide is from Area on Aging. They provide grants specifically for Illinois to different services designed for seniors.
Okay. All right, now I remember that one.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of the times when they use the initials, I never get them.
I
So,
double check my stuff.
okay. All right, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, fantastic. So thank you again for having me today. On the first slide here, we'll see we did update our website and brochure to reflect our change in service area and the expansion of eligible townships. If you want, I think those links are clickable. I also have brochures I can hand out at the end if everyone needs a copy. The main thing is it gives a breakdown of how the service works, including a service area map and some relevant phone numbers. I try to make a habit of mailing a brochure to everyone I speak to on the phone, just because a lot of the times the people I'm speaking to may be seniors, and if I ask, they may not have an email address, and so sending them a link to the website isn't necessarily the most helpful thing for them. So I think mailing them a brochure, just so they have something on hand, can really help. I think there are typically 3 key phone numbers I give to someone that are reflected in a brochure. The first is typically going to be their township. Unfortunately, not all townships have an available phone number to contact for registration, but over the phone, I'll give them that and also give them the number for the PACE call center so they can call to schedule rides, and also my number. I think I speak to probably at least over half of the people that end up registering for our service at some point, usually in the early stages, just to walk them through any questions they have, give them a breakdown of how the service works. And I always advise them to, save my number in addition to that PACE number in case they have any questions about, they want to know if they can go to a certain destination, they want to know about the time the service is available, or if they feel like they're having any issue with the program. It's usually a bit faster to have them contact me directly, just because I'm more in touch with people over at PACE, so I can try to get to the bottom of an issue and try to solve it a little bit faster than they could maybe on their own through the call center. Okay. So for our next slide, I went back to looking at our ridership going back to January 2016, and these numbers are a little bit like a month and a half outdated from when I submitted this to the ad hoc committee. So this is going to be around 68,000 rides over the course of the program's history from January 2016 up through August of this year. And so, we average a little under 700 rides per month. We have seen some positive changes this year. From January to August, so that's the first 8 months, delivered almost 7,000 rides. I was looking at it today. We're closer to 8,300 rides so far for 2024 as of today. And this is a pretty typical trend we might expect for public transportation service. Typically, we will see a rise as the weather warms. I think that's just to be expected. We do have some slight deviations from previous years this year due to the expansion, which overall I would say are positive. So far for 2024, as you can see, we're averaging around 870 rides per month. We did have our highest number of rides in August so far this year at over 1,000. And on the next slide, thank you so much. We can see, based on the number of registrations, that interest and awareness of the program has grown. Just to put for frame of reference, since 2016, there's been about 3,000 registrations, and that's averaging about 30 per month. And we'll still see that trend today. For most months, I'll get around 30 new registrations. So far this year, though, at least up through September, actually, we have 290 registrations. So far this year, it's probably a little over 300 at this moment. We do have a new milestone of registering 79 new riders in August, and that's following, public awareness from the launch of Access Will County expansion. And surprisingly, not all of those new registrations have come from the new Southwest Will County territory. It's also, I think, just from increasing public awareness from pre-existing townships that maybe weren't as aware of this program. So as we're doing more efforts to, engage in community outreach, I think awareness of the program has grown beyond our new area. So for example, I have been doing on-site visits to a lot of places. Those might include, registration and informational sessions where maybe I just talk to a group of seniors at, say a town hall, a library, park district, even a church. And so that's a good way to raise awareness for and help, register people on the spot. I think a lot of times people just have questions they want answered, and it helps to be there in person in addition to being able to answer their questions over the phone. So this year does deviate a bit from the norm in that we did have that spike over the summer from registrations. I wouldn't expect, 80 new people every single month, but I think that is a very positive sign for the trend. And so again, just trying to emphasize this, the trend has been positive. Some of it can be accounted for just based on, whether more people ride when it's warmer versus the winter. But this is a more positive trend than we've seen in past years. And I think I can explain that a little bit further in the next slide. So again, I mentioned highest registration in our program's history in August. In August, we also delivered the most rides this year and also the highest ridership for a single month in 5 years. And we're projected for 2024 to have the highest annual ridership over the course of the year since the pandemic. So I really wanted a better comparison, and 2023 is the most similar year for the past couple of years in terms of ridership. So we can kind of examine the trend. It does kind of tick upwards as the weather warms, but I think we get a broader perspective on how ridership has changed for Access Will County, formerly Will Ride, this year compared to previous years on the next slide. So sometimes it's kind of tricky. Something I struggle with is breaking down data into very accessible formats. And this is about the simplest I could get it. We look at that dark blue line in 2020, and we can see in March and April when we started to get a lot of lockdowns following the pandemic. And you can speak to anyone in public transportation service, probably anywhere in the country, and they will tell you that public transportation took a big hit following the lockdowns, following COVID. And so every year since then, we've kind of steadily recovered. And you can clearly see ridership is growing each year. One positive thing I want to note about 2024 is that we are now reaching pre-pandemic levels, which is personally a very big milestone for our program. And my hope, if the trend continues, if ridership continues to grow and public awareness continues to grow, then we could start surpassing pre-pandemic levels of ridership. So obviously in 2020, we had our lowest ridership in the program's history. We had a little over 4,000 rides. This year, we are expected to deliver about 2.5 times that many rides for 2024, which means delivering over 10,000 rides. And this is just for people who are eligible to pay for the ride. This does not include personal care attendants or service animals, of course. Just for reference, in 2023, we delivered around 8,600 rides. And as of today, we're at about 8,300 rides for 2024. So before the end of the month of October, we will already be most likely surpassing what we did for all of last year. Okay. I think that pretty much sums up where our ridership is at for the program. Does anyone have any questions?
Ladies, do you have any questions? I just have one question.
Okay.
What is the average distance of a ride?
You'd mentioned this in the past. Let me let me glance at the. I can get an answer for you by the end of the day, and I will gladly send it to this committee. I will compile all the numbers and try to find an average for them. I don't know if the average is going to tell you a whole lot. Maybe a median or a mode could get a better idea. Some people, who aren't mobile or have ambulatory difficulties, just need the service to go, down the block to the bank or the post office. Some people have doctor's appointments in Will County or Bolingbrook, and they live on the south side of Will
Well,
County.
you can give me a total of miles if you want, an average or total miles.
Okay.
Either one is sufficient. Both would be even better, but
Oh yeah. Easy.
yeah. Okay, well, thank you very much. If there's no more questions, we will go on to our next, which is old business, other old business, which there is none. And new business, we have a presentation, an executive summary from Annette.
It's just.
Hold 1 second, please. I'm a little slow on the draw here, so just give me a moment. There you go.
Just a quick overview of the executive summary. Elaine and I met and went through that study that was done, and we just discussed goals and things like that together. As you guys remember, the county was awarded a $200,000 grant, and that was used to conduct this study. One of the things that Elaine and I discussed was this study, in fact, you know, it was 1,200 participants, and that's been a huge thing that's been being brought up. And so after reading this and reading not the entire book, but many pages on that book. So I did a little bit of research. In 2022, there were 80,000 seniors in Will County, and we're not even discussing persons with disabilities. It's just strictly seniors at this point, just for ease. 80,000 seniors, a 1,200 participant study comes out to be about 1.41% of the population that was sampled. And then I just did a little Google research, and the average participant of a study of this kind comes out to be about 33%. So you can see the difference between an average study and the participants in it versus this particular study. I think that was my biggest takeaway. And then one of the things that Elaine and I spoke, which Colin briefly touched on as well, is you know, as many of you know, I come from a sales background. So for me is if this continues, how are you going to sell this? Because a brochure isn't really going to grab my attention and sell it and anything like that. And so I'd love to get more information on that, on how this is going to be presented and sold to participants and get the word out there. And it's, you know, Colin had mentioned he's going to many of these fairs and things like that, but you know, how are you getting people to actually pay attention to you at these fairs? You know, what's going to be so eye-catching? The other thing that I took away from this executive summary and meeting with Elaine was, you know, the current structure right now is that the townships and municipalities pay some or all of the costs for providing services, and the proposed structure is that the townships would not have to fund any dial ride services. And so one of the questions I had for Elaine this week was how many townships have paid, or how much have the townships paid currently this year? And this year the townships have not paid the county anything. So we don't have anything from that. That's about it.
Okay. All right. Well, did you have any questions? Janet? All right. Well, that's all good stuff. I'm very interested in the fact that the study, you know, an average study was 33%. That was one of the things that kind of flagged concern for me early on. And you even went off 80,000, which was pretty generous considering. So,
Exactly.
okay. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Sorry to interrupt. We can go back to minutes. Judy is here and make your quorum. So if you
Okay.
want to vote,
All right. Do we don't have to take a roll call or
we'll
anything?
make a roll call for the vote.
Okay.
Second Diaz.
All in favor? Or
Well,
you have to do a roll call? Okay.
None.
Okay.
This next step.
Okay. Diaz,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Butler,
Yes.
Ogalla.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Right. Okay, no other new business. Was there any public comment? No emails for public comment?
No, sir.
And nobody is on the line for public comment? Anybody? Okay. So can I get a motion to adjourn?
Second Williams.
All in favor? Aye. All right. We are adjourned.